Good evening. Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to the 13th annual StarMedia Salute to Nurses event. My name is Doug Wilson and I serve as Group Vice President of Marketing and Strategy for StarMedia. On behalf of StarMedia, the Indianapolis Star, and our presenting sponsor, Eli Lilly and Company, I'd like to welcome you to this evening's celebration. At this time, I'd ask you to please silence your cell phones for the remainder of the program. However, if you do tweet, we are asking you to participate on Twitter throughout the evening with the hashtag Salute to Nurses. Salute to Nurses is an annual gathering that allows us to celebrate nursing professionals across central Indiana. We asked those attending last year how we can improve our program year over year. I hope you noticed we listened. From the time of day to this wonderful venue to the categories of our awards, we're able to incorporate many of your excellent suggestions into this year's events. So we think we have a wonderful evening planned for you. As you look around this room, you'll see people whose passion for the work is an inspiration to us all. The healthcare industry is rapidly changing, but one thing that never changes: there will always be nursing professionals who go above and beyond each and every day. Professionals that provide the best compassionate care and comfort for their patients and their families. It is today that we recognize a growing and honored list of some of the area's finest healthcare professionals. StarMedia has been the proud sponsor of this Salute to Nurses gathering since 2003. Over those 13 years, we have honored dozens of nurse and nurse educators from across Indiana. And we find that they all share two admired traits. They are selfless in the service they provide, and they are tireless in their dedication to their patients. There are many people who make this day possible, but we're especially pleased to welcome Eli Lilly and Company as this year's presenting sponsor. I spent 14 years at Lilly before joining StarMedia, so I personally understand how Lilly's commitment to making life better goes beyond the medicines they make. They aspire to make a meaningful impact on people and communities around the world. We're proud to have Lilly on board. Please join me in showing our appreciation for Lilly as our presenting sponsor. I do want to note one small change in the agenda from your programs you have. Nicholas Rode is unfortunately unable to attend tonight due to an illness. We wish him a speedy recovery. So let's get started. To do just that, I would like to introduce today's Master of Ceremonies, Tanae Howard. Tanae joined the Fox 59 television news team as an anchor reporter in December of 2013. This outgoing journalist hails originally from Flint, Michigan. She's a Michigan State grad, where she earned her journalism degree. From there, Tanae took off to Atlanta, where she began her career behind the scenes of TV's bright lights. It was there she also determined she wanted to get in front of the camera. So she headed down to New Bern, North Carolina, where she landed her first on-air role as a reporter, covering everything from political scandals to tropical storms. Soon thereafter, her television road led her back to Indianapolis. In Tanae's spare time, she enjoys trying new restaurants, taking group fitness classes. You can also find this proud Spartan cheering on her team and mentoring future journalists. Tanae is a member of the National Association of Black Journalists, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, and a volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club. You can catch her anchoring Fox 59 News on weekends at 10 p.m. and filing a variety of reports during the week. Tanae will lead us through tonight's program, so please welcome Ms. Tanae Howard.
Thank you for that awesome introduction. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank StarMedia for extending the invitation for me to be here tonight. During the week, I have the honor of and the privilege of filing health reports. So this is very special for me to be in a room filled with Central Indiana's best and brightest healthcare professionals that give of themselves so tirelessly. So I just want to give you all a personal thank you, and for always giving me awesome stories to highlight the great work that you do. I would also like to thank Fox 59 for letting me off work early to be here tonight. I don't have a 9 to 5, so this is awesome. So we're gonna get the program started tonight. So as many of you may know, Chuck Pagano, head coach with the Indianapolis Colts, he recently fought and won his battle against leukemia. So he often speaks out about how special and instrumental nurses were during his treatment and recovery. He tried his best to be here tonight, but there is something called the NFL draft that pulled him away from this awesome event. He sends his heartfelt thank you to each of you for your dedication, compassion, and your caregiving. We do have a special message tonight from Coach Chuck Pagano.
Good evening. I'm Chuck Pagano, head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. I hope you're having a wonderful time at the event tonight. Unfortunately, due to football obligations, I'm unable to join you. I wanted to take a moment to recognize the nurses across the state of Indiana. I'm talking about the selfless individuals who make sacrifices for their dedication to provide care and comfort to patients and their families. For those of you who don't know my story, I was diagnosed with APL, a form of leukemia, just months after taking the head coaching position with the Colts. I was so fortunate to receive the best care from the doctors and nurses at the IU Simon Cancer Center. The term hero gets thrown around loosely. I've always said a hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself. After going through what I went through, I realized that there are no better servants than caregivers. They are heroes in my book. Day in and day out, I was surrounded with their positive attitude, which kept me motivated. In addition to the support of my nurses, I received prayers and well wishes from those in and around the Indianapolis community and the country. This was the formula to help me overcome leukemia. Within the Colts organization, we have a mantra: serve and give back. Nobody defines that mantra more than nurses who work tirelessly to make sure their patients are taken care of. In the worst of circumstances, my nurses never left my side. For that, I am forever grateful. I apologize again for not being able to attend tonight, but I hope you all are having a fantastic evening. Thank you.
So, as a special thank you, Coach Pagano has donated copies of his book, Sidelined. So 50 lucky winners will go home with a copy of that book tonight. Let's give a warm welcome right back to Coach Pagano tonight for his generosity for that. So to begin the program, it is my special honor to introduce to you our special guest speaker, Dr. Ratan Juneja, Senior Medical Advisor of Diabetes at Eli Lilly and Company in Indianapolis. Additionally, Dr. Juneja is an adjunct associate professor of clinical medicine at the Indiana University School of Medicine in Indianapolis. He earned his medical degree and completed an internship and a 3-year residency in internal medicine at BJ Medical College in Pune, India. Dr. Juneja completed a secondary residency in various hospitals throughout Ireland, followed by a fellowship in endocrinology at the University of Washington in Seattle, where he also completed a 3rd residency in internal medicine. He is a member of the Royal College of Physicians and is also board certified in internal medicine and endocrinology. Dr. Juneja is a member of the American Diabetes Association, and he has been principal investigator for 18 clinical studies and grants. He has authored articles published in many prestigious academic journals, including Medical Clinics of North America, the International Journal of Stroke and Current Treatment Options in Neurology. We are so honored to have him here with us this evening. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Juneja.
Thanks, Tanae, and thank you to the organizers for giving us at Lilly the honor of being here at this great event. We really do appreciate it. Um, as Tanae mentioned, my bio is a little crazy. Why was I doing 3 residencies? Well, it turns out when I did my first residency in India, I qualified as a physician in India. But then I wanted to study endocrinology and went to Ireland because the opportunities in India weren't that many. At that point in time, there were about, give or take, 8.5 million people with type 2 diabetes in India. And this was 1985. Today, there are about 50 million people with type 2 diabetes in India. So diabetes became a passion for me. Went to Ireland. They wanted me to prove myself as a physician again, so there was a second residency. Finished that, came to Seattle, did my fellowship and in diabetes and endocrinology. And they said, but you need to prove yourself as a physician again. So I did third residency. So along this journey, you can imagine, and I grew up in a medical school environment. Along this journey, my first exposure to medicine would be when, as a kid, if I got sick, I went to the doctor's office, who would be the first responder that I would see? A nurse. So as I've gone through different training programs across 3 different continents, my understanding and my respect for what you guys bring to the table has just grown in leaps and bounds, because you are always the first responders for patients, and you are always the last person the patient often sees before they go home. So thank you so much for the service that you offer. Thank you. So, diabetes, I'm going to jump into this presentation, and as we go along, as we all know, diabetes is a condition, particularly type 2 diabetes, but even type 1 diabetes, that the physician doesn't manage. It's the patient who takes care of himself or herself. So let's go through this journey and see what's going on in the world and where we are landing up with diabetes, why this is such a big problem, and how important a role the nursing profession plays in managing these patients or helping the patients manage themselves. So when we look in terms of numbers, as you can see from this graphic, this is from the International Diabetes Federation. This was the number of diabetes patients last year overall in the world. This is where we are headed to. And if you break it down from different continents and different countries or different geographical areas, that's what you're going to see. So this is not stopping. This epidemic is continuing, and it is growing in leaps and bounds. When we look at other sets of numbers in terms of obesity, which often precedes diabetes, this is data from the CDC. And many of you have seen these slides, or if you go to the CDC website, you've seen that, as we know, diabetes is often preceded by obesity, at least the type 2 diabetes. And you can see over here the percentage of patients who have obesity has grown. This is more than 26% of the population of each of those states. And diabetes follows that. So if you follow the numbers, 1994, 2000, and 2010, almost 10% of the population of many states, patients have diabetes. Now, these are just the known patients with diabetes. Half of the patients who have diabetes don't know it. So if that's the state of affairs that we're dealing with, almost 1 in 2 people could potentially have high risk for diabetes or have diabetes. And that's a problem that we have to somehow contend with. So when we talk about trying to deal with this problem, what we're dealing with is cost. Not only a cost to the patient, but cost to society. And in terms of numbers, these are the estimates in terms of expenditure. That's in billions of dollars. So it's a difficult disease to treat in terms of cost. It also has a cost on the economy. But most importantly, it has a cost on the patient, because we do know that glucose is the main source of energy for the body. So if glucose is not being used for energy, patients don't feel well. So no matter what we want them to do, they might find it hard to do because they don't have the energy to do it. Therefore, controlling the glucose becomes important on a day-to-day basis. Now, if you don't control glucose on a day-to-day basis, over time, it starts damaging your eyes, your kidneys, and your nerves. Which means who has to take care of the diabetes on a day-to-day basis? It's the patient. Which means diabetes education becomes the paramount foundational basis of management of diabetes. Drugs come secondarily to that whole thing. But management principles have to be taught to the patient, and that teaching occurs from nurses, from pharmacists, from diabetes educators. So from an epidemiology perspective, who is getting diabetes? Is anybody spared? Well, when we look at even racial distribution, every person across the world now is at risk for diabetes. Doesn't matter whether you come from Asia, you come from Africa, you come from Latin American countries, you come from the United States, Caucasians, Hispanics, African Americans, everybody is at risk. So why is this risk occurring, and why is the risk higher in certain non-Caucasian populations? This is data from Pima Indians. And Pima Indians, as we know, are there in Arizona as well as in Mexico. So if we look at the Pima Indians in Arizona, if you look at the attributes of BMI, hours of work per week, diabetes prevalence, those are the numbers. Now, if you look at the same Pima Indians in Mexico, see how the numbers pan out. Big difference. So inactivity or lack of exercise contributing to obesity, contributing to diabetes is something we really have to pay attention to. This is me. When I moved to Ireland, believe it or believe it me, that's me, okay? I weighed about 148 pounds. This was in 1990. This is when I moved to Indiana University, 2000. So I'd lost 80% of my hair then, and I'd gained 20 pounds. And this is me now at about 190 pounds with only 5% of my hair left. So, I have been totally Americanized, as you can see. So I am at pretty high risk for diabetes too. So what about children? If you look at children, boys and girls, and you look at this data here in terms of increasing obesity in the United States children, and you can see percentile here, change in prevalence. This is 6 to 11 years of age, boys and girls, and if you go up to a higher age group, 12 to 17. So this is happening to our children. If we look at epidemiology in children and adolescents across different cities in the United States, so this is study population. This is Pima Indians. This is age 10 to 14 years, prevalence increase. Okay, this is 15 to 19 years, prevalence increase 50%. If you look at American Indian populations, again, clinic-based data. If you look at another population of American Indians, again, clinic-based data, or NHANES data, all of these are showing that the prevalence is going up. The scariest one was this one that I saw at the end, where, again, pretty close to us, where you're seeing increases 7% in Cincinnati and 10% in the Midwest. These are scary numbers, and we have to think about this. Even when I look at my own kids, they're sitting with their iPads and iPods and whatever, and they speak looking down. It's like they're praying all the time, but you can't make them make eye contact with you anymore, and there's very little activity that they're getting. So if activity or lack thereof, lifestyle change could be introduced, does that really matter? Does it really work? To try and look at this way back, a study was done called the Diabetes Prevention Program. I'm not going to go through the details of this program, but this was an NIH-funded study. And what the NIH-funded study did was they took patients with pre-diabetes and said, okay, we are going to send you to ball games. We are going to send you to every place possible where you will get exposure to exercise. We paid for it as taxpayers. What we want you to do is, just with lifestyle alone, lose only 7% of your body weight and keep it off. And they compared that group to a group that got medication, metformin. And what did the results show? What the results showed was that if you lost that 7% of your body weight, your risk for diabetes was reduced 58% compared to even metformin, where there was a 34% relative risk reduction. It wasn't an absolute risk reduction, but a relative risk reduction of 58% just by walking. And that's where that whole concept of walking, the 10,000 steps, the 150 minutes a week came about. Simple stuff like this. But this study cost a lot of money. We as taxpayers were giving these patients T-shirts, wristwatches, reminding them that they were part of a clinical trial, that they needed to exercise. So this is what we need to ingrain within our patient population, within our children, that exercise does matter. It matters even more than medications to prevent diabetes, because prevention is where we want to go. With the numbers that we're dealing with the costs that we're dealing with, prevention is the best cure over here, which means exercise is the best way to go. So the study results, just as an overall summary, was exercise does work, medications can help, but exercise is very, very important. So what role do you guys play? What role does diabetes education play? As I've been saying, you all know you're the first responders. You all are the first people the patient sees. Even when they come and see somebody like me as a physician, I'm an endocrinologist, I just tell them, you got to go see the diabetes educator, because you got to go and learn about self-management. And this diabetes education doesn't have to come from professional diabetes educators. It comes from every single person who touches this patient, whether this is in the hospital, patient gets admitted, who teaches them all the nuts and bolts of glucose monitoring? It's not the physicians, it's the nurses who do that. So every possible place that the patient touches in the medical community in diabetes, I think education becomes the key, and the people who provide the education are the nurses, pharmacists, dietitians. That's where the education is coming from. So this is kind of summarizing overall what attributes or what value education plays in diabetes. And I've already talked about all of these things. Now just think about a type 1 diabetes situation. Type 1 diabetes requires a person to calculate what carbohydrates they're consuming. Then they have to match that to the dose of insulin that they need to take. Who's going to teach them all of this? It rarely happens in a physician's office. This happens outside of the physician's office. So if anybody who has type 1 diabetes, they would know how hard it is to take insulin. You have to figure out how much insulin you need for the amount of carbohydrates you're consuming. You have to time that insulin in an appropriate manner so that it peaks when the food is peaking. And if there's a mismatch in that, then you get hypoglycemia. You got to know how to manage that. It's all self-management. Patients have to be taught this. So there's a connection here, communication. A physician sees the patient, physician then sends the patient to the diabetes educators or to the nurses. Teach the patient how to monitor, teach the patient how to give glucagon, teach the patient how to do the insulin shots. Teach them what to do when the hypoglycemia occurs. As you all know, we have, increasingly little time that we can spend with our patients. So the burden is shifting, and the burden is shifting onto the nurses, which is, I think, the most appropriate place for this diabetes education. So what role does the patient himself or herself play? They clearly have a role to play. Now, this is just data coming from, how we do things in different countries. And as you can see over there, in the United States, this is where we are compared to the rest of the world. So we drive everywhere. But now we are making changes. Even here in Indianapolis, you can take a bicycle and you can ride the bicycle. I live in Fishers, and Fishers is doing a fantastic job of setting up bicycle trails all over the place. Carmel already had that. The Monon Trail is already there. So we're moving in that direction, moving slowly but surely in that direction of increasing exercise. And I think we need to all encourage this. We need to encourage this not only in our communities, we need to encourage this in schools. I was amazed when my kid had to take his physical education class as a computer test in high school. That was weird for me. I mean, how do you take a physical education class on a computer? But somebody was checking a box, I guess. So what does the future hold? Well, this is a picture taken at Riley Hospital many years ago. And that let me go back one. That's the salad line, as you can see. And that's the grill line. So I didn't take the picture. We sent a photographer to take this picture. And this person's actually one of our fellows, and that's her husband. She didn't know this picture was being taken. I didn't know that she was at the salad line, but she was our trainee. Now she's a practicing endocrinologist in Kokomo. So she was, following what she was preaching, so to speak. And finally, exercise, I think, is the way to go. I don't know if you can have pedal-powered, iPhones, but that's probably the future, that we need to somehow do this, get people encouraged to exercise. So I'll end over here, and I'll turn it back over to Tanae. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Dr. Juneja for that very eye-opening presentation. I'm sure he stepped on all of our toes in one way or another there. So I would now like to take a moment to recognize representatives of the partner organizations that help with this year's event. Without their generous support, their time and resources, this evening would not be possible. Back in February, board members and staff from the Indiana State Board of Nursing, they all came together with StarMedia to assist in the selection process for who we'll see here tonight. Each nomination submitted, and there were hundreds of them that came in, so you guys are loved. After a long evening, the finalists were chosen through a democratic process, and some of the members are here today. If you are here when I call your name, will you please stand to be recognized at this time? We have Natalie Hall, President of the Board, Whiteland. Kim Cooper, Vice President, Terre Haute. Holly Presley, Secretary, Indianapolis. Cecilia Smith of Bloomington. Linda Narwald of Kokomo. Ann Ogle, Columbus. Marsha Lowe, Martinsville. Join me in giving them a round of applause tonight for going through that selection process. At this time, I'd also like to thank those individuals from StarMedia who helped organize, promote, and produce this event, making it a reality. I was here for rehearsal yesterday, and let me just say, this room looks amazing. Awesome event, and a heartfelt offer put in for them. Will the StarMedia team please stand at this time to be recognized? And thanks to each of you for your hard work and dedication in making this event possible. We would also like to extend a special thank you to our Salute to Nurses sponsors. We're going to acknowledge them at this time. For our presenting sponsor of the evening, Eli Lilly and Company. For our silver sponsors, we have Hancock Regional Health, Franciscan St. Francis Health. For our bronze sponsors tonight, Chamberlain College of Nursing, Indiana University Health, Riverview Health, Community Health, and our retail sponsors and partners for tonight, Hoffmeister Personal Jewelers, The Walking Company, McNamara Florist, Massage Envy, Overcoming Together, Let's End Ovarian Cancer, Indiana Professional Licensing Agency, Anderson University, Ball State University, Marian University, MedTech College, and the Honor Society of Nursing, Sigma Theta Tau. Let's give them all a round of applause. And on behalf of StarMedia, our genuine thanks again to all of these supporting sponsors, as well as the Indiana State Board of Nursing. Now, before we get to the reason that we have all gathered here today with the awards presentation, I would like to ask all former Nurse of the Year Award winners who are present tonight to please stand to be recognized for all your dedication and hard work at this time. Any former members? Oh, we have a couple. Congratulations to you on your past and continued accomplishments, and also thank you for being a part of the celebration again this year. Now, if I could have all of our nurses present who were nominated this year to please stand up so that you may be recognized at this time. And thank you so much for coming this evening, and thanks to all of you for your patience and their families each and every day, all the hard work that you serve and the compassion that you give them. Also, congratulations on such an awesome achievement. A wonderful round of applause for each and every one of you who are nominated tonight. And now on to the presentation of the 13th Annual Salute to Nurses Awards. We're going to have Doug Wilson to come and join me to help pass out the awards tonight. We are going to start with the CARE Awards. This award recognizes nurses for being compassionate about reaching for excellence. These individuals have been selected by their employers for their constant desire and drive to surpass ordinary standards. At this time, I'm going to share with you the CARE Award winners. As I read your name, please come to the stage to be recognized, and a member from StarMedia will present you with your certificate. First, from Franciscan St. Francis Health, Richard Spencer. From VA Medical Center, Judith Kelly. From VA Medical Center, Jennifer Schnabel. From Hancock Regional Hospital, Christine Iman. Also from Hancock Regional Hospital, Jeremy D. Kenny. From Community Hospital South ER, Brittany Leach. From Riverview Health, Dee Dee Flattery. From Riverview Health, Megan Deaton. And another round of applause and congratulations again to our CARE Award winners tonight. At this time, I would like to recognize our honored nursing student. For this year's scholarship opportunity, we had more than 198 candidates. This is the future we're talking about here, representing 12 different Central Indiana schools. Each school selected and submitted their best essay for review by the Indiana State Board of Nursing, who then selected our winner tonight. StarMedia is pleased to recognize Alexandra Evans as our 2015 honored nursing student. At this time, Alexandra and Dr. Debbie DeMeester, Assistant Dean for Pre-Licensure for Indiana University School of Nursing at IUPUI, will accept this award. Congratulations again to Alexandra. Alexandra, it gives us great pleasure to present to you a $3,500 scholarship courtesy of StarMedia. Congratulations, and thank you for your contributions. Now we would like to recognize the organization that received the most nominations for their nurses on staff. This year, St. Vincent received 64 nominations. Accepting the award today is Mary Myers, CNO for St. Vincent, Indianapolis. During Salute to Nurses' 13-year history, StarMedia has recognized 104 award winners and thousands of nominated nurses. Every nurse here has no doubt touched the lives of so many people around them in numerous ways. But these nurses, I will recognize here in a second, stand out as the best of the best. It is my sincere honor to now shine the spotlight on our award winners for their selfless acts, tireless service, and for giving back to their communities. With that, the presentation of the Individual Nursing Award, who are also finalists for the Nurse of the Year Award. Each year, each award recipient will be joined on stage with a representative from their employer group. The first award tonight is the Advancement in Nursing Award. The 2015 Advancement of Nursing Award winner is Anita Saccardi from Marian University. Anita, Dean of Nursing for Marian University, holds a bachelor's in nursing as well as a master's in higher education and a doctorate in higher education administration. She was also the charge nurse for 2 hospitals in Texas. Anita has taught in many foreign places stateside, and her list of credentials and achievements goes on and on. Anita Saccardi is truly an accomplished nurse dedicated to the profession. Let's take a look at Anita's video.
You're the best. Dr. Saccardi, our friends from the Indy Star, are here to make a very special announcement.
It is an honor to announce the winner of Indy Star StarMedia's Advancement in Nursing Award to Dr. Anita Saccardi. Thank you.
Winning the Advancement in Nursing Award is very humbling, and I'm very honored because I think it recognizes all nurses and all nurses who are worthy of the name nurse. I think what inspired me to be a nurse was maybe a communication between my mother when she was pregnant with me, and she was taking a correspondence course in nursing from the School of Nursing in Chicago. So I think it was kind of a communication through the placenta from the mom to the fetus. The start of my nursing career is kind of an interesting story because a friend of mine who was an alum, this was in high school, a high school teacher. So she said, we're going to drive up to Texas Women's University, get you registered for nursing, and you're going to write this scholarship to pay your tuition. And she planned it. So that's when I began. My biggest accomplishments, I think, have been developing programs in nursing for students, understanding what they need to know, and how to put the curriculum together so that they can get that information. So I've started nurse practitioner programs. I'm starting programs at Marian University in Masters and the DNP. And I think that gives me a lot of satisfaction when I go into the classroom and I see that what I've developed really works and they're understanding it. I think that my legacy would be that I'm a student and nurse advocate. And so I'm always trying to understand one of the blessings that God gave me is that I only see the good in people, so that I'm good at empowering and helping them get confidence so they can do what they need to do and do it well.
And congratulations again to Dr. Anita Zaccardi tonight. Our next award is the Community Outreach Award. The 2015 Salute to Nurses Community Outreach winner is Gretchen Huffman from Public Safety Medical. Gretchen Huffman from Public Safety Medical graduated from Indiana University in Bloomington. She did neurogenetics research at NIH in Maryland before moving to Chicago to be the director of the neurosurgery lab at Northwestern's Medical School. While in Chicago, she became a paramedic. Her credo and passion to serve all patients despite their ability to pay for care presented many opportunities, including relocation to the Indianapolis area to serve as a paramedic for the former Wishart Hospital. Once serving as an emergency nurse, her journey led her to Public Safety Medical, where she is currently a nurse practitioner. Let's take a look at her journey.
It is an honor to announce the winner of our Community Outreach Award to Gretchen Hoffman.
What it means to be the recipient of the Community Outreach Award, to me, is a great honor for someone to take the time to nominate me or think that I was even worthy of that. Just makes me speechless and humbled. I've always just been passionate about service. My mission in life is to serve others, to help others in any way that I can. There's nothing that gives me any greater satisfaction than taking care of another person. When I first got into college, I started doing research in neuroscience because I thought that I would have the biggest impact there. The only thing I ever wanted to do was to be a physician in a free clinic. And as my life kind of progressed, I kept going down the neuroscience path, and things just kept falling in that direction. And while I was living in Chicago, I became a paramedic, and I was finally doing patient care, and I absolutely loved it. I was like, this is what I need to be doing. Essentially from there, I started working in the emergency department of Wishart, which is now Eskenazi, and became a nurse. And then I started doing medical mission trips, and I went to Haiti right after the earthquake. And it just really drove my passion for knowledge, because the more I know, the more I can help another human being. There's nothing specifically that I can pinpoint that a particular person has given me, but just over time, seeing such wonderful nurses and just watching them and care for people in a non-judgmental way. Because when we see people, sometimes they're at their worst, and they're not necessarily nice. And taking that extra step to meet them where they are and to make them feel cared for and valued. So to work with so many extraordinary nurses has inspired me to become a better nurse, because I'm not here to judge what brought them there that day. I'm there to take care of them.
And at this time, I ask Gretchen Huffman and Kevin Swihart from Eskenazi Health to please come to the stage to receive your awards tonight. Again, let's say congratulations to Gretchen. Next up, we have the Inspiration Award. The 2015 Salute to Nurses Inspiration Award winner is Diana Cobb from Indiana University Health. Diana began her nursing career more than 18 years ago. Her original career plan was to be a news anchor. She was coming for me, guys. However, her plans changed after she received word that her grandmother passed from complications related to high blood pressure. Diana decided at that moment that her calling was to advocate for patients and families. Diana's current role is Director of Cardiovascular Services for IU Health North and Saxony Hospitals. Diana considers it a privilege to lead teams who support patients with cardiovascular disease similar to her grandmother's. Diana's accomplishments include developing the Indiana State Police Heart Initiative. Let's hear more about Diana's story.
It is an honor to announce the winner of our Inspiration Award to Diana Cobb.
To win the Inspiration Award is a great honor. It validates the level of achievement one can obtain when thinking outside the box to provide patient care. I was inspired to be a nurse because of the care that my grandmother received in rural Tennessee. She was non-compliant and just didn't have an advocate to help her through the healthcare system. And so when she passed away, I vowed to be that patient advocate to ensure that all patients receive the highest level of care. I started as a student nurse extern 18 years ago, and I transferred to Methodist and worked on a cardiac step-down unit. And shortly after a year or so, I transferred to the coronary care unit, where I grew my clinical skills, and then I transferred to the cath lab. And that sort of catapulted me to my current leadership role. My biggest accomplishment has definitely been the Indiana State Police Heart Initiative. We had a patient transfer from one of our outlying hospitals. He had ignored his signs and symptoms of a heart attack, and eventually his symptoms became so bad that he went to the hospital at IU Health Tipton and was quickly diagnosed with having a myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack. Because of his experience, Superintendent Doug Carter approached our team about developing a cardiac risk assessment screening for 1,300 of their state employees. The beauty of working in the cardiovascular service line is that we have a patient that comes in with severe chest pain and diaphoretic and is afraid of what we're going to do to them. I have found that just taking that patient where they are and doing the best that we can to make sure that we are providing safe, quality care is what motivates me. I take every patient individually.
At this time, I would like to invite Diana Cobb and Suzanne DeBlaccio, Chief Nursing Officer and VP of Patient Care Services for IU Health, to the stage to receive your award tonight. And let's hear it again for Diana tonight. Our next award is the Lifetime of Compassion Award. The 2015 Lifetime of Compassion Award goes to Charlesine Ford. She works for a private practice here in Indianapolis. An avid lover for nature and outdoors, Charlesine loved to see things grow and develop and quickly became known as the neighborhood healer, nurturing every cat and dog within a 1-mile radius. Her secret potion for healing always contained some rubbing alcohol. Not only did it heal the wounds, but also the external effects of the alcohol encouraged a burst of energy. So from broken cats' tails to delivering neighbors' babies in taxi cabs, her natural curiosity and passion for healing and nurturing inspired her interest in nursing. She graduated from the School of Practical Nursing from Marian University. She's accredited at the Indiana Family Health Council at Ball State and is nationally certified as a women's health nurse practitioner.
Here on behalf of Salute to Nurses, it's an honor to announce StarMedia's Lifetime of Compassion Award to Charlie Seen Ford. Congratulations.
A Lifetime of Compassion Award is a very prestigious experience. It's an experience that every nurse should be able to feel. I've been in nursing for 45 years, and I've been very dedicated to the nursing profession. It has always been my passion from childhood. My inspiration came from inside. It did not come from outside. I always knew I wanted to be a nurse, even at the age of 5 or 6. I, in the neighborhood, was the repairer of butterfly wings and kitty cat tails. I began my nursing career at Wishart Hospital on an OB/GYN floor. I was initially hired as a surgical technician for all of the GYN cases, such as cesarean sections, tubal ligations. I was hired there and I stayed there for 13 years. One of the very first patients that I had as a student was a burn patient. And when I received report that morning, they did not tell me when they asked me to get him up for the first time that he had never seen himself. I took him into the bathroom, and when he saw what he looked like in the mirror, he screamed and began thrashing. But that taught me then that it is very important to communicate with your patient and to also be very compassionate at that time through your communication. I think that part of being a compassionate nurse is coming to work every day. And the one thing that I did do was go to work every single day. I think I went 10 years without ever calling in sick. I am a nurse 24/7. The best advice that I was given is actually in a textbook partially, and that advice is primum non nocere, which means do no harm. Also, the advice I was given was the nurse is absolutely an advocate for the patient. You never stop being a nurse. You never stop.
And Charlottesine couldn't be here this evening, so at this time, I would like to invite Shayla Holder, Charlottesine's great niece, to the stage to accept the award on her behalf tonight. We might be looking at a future nurse. She's the future, right? And congratulations again to Charlottesine tonight in her absence. Our next award is the Nurse Educator of the Year Award. The 2015 Nurse Educator of the Year Award recognizes Lisa Meyer from Indiana University Health Physicians. Lisa Meyer is a simulation educator for the Department of Pediatrics in the section of neonatal perinatal medicine at Indiana University Health Physicians. In this position, she coordinates simulation curriculum for pediatric residents and neonatology fellows. Lisa has created infant task trainers to improve the quality of education she offers to her learners. Her work has been presented internationally at simulation conferences. Additionally, Lisa serves as an outreach educator, taking simulated delivery room resuscitations to community hospitals throughout the state of Indiana. She is also Associate Director of the Neonatal Resuscitation Program for the section of neonatology. Let's take a look.
We are here today on behalf of Salute to Nurses. It is our pleasure to announce the winner of the Nurse Educator of the Year, Lisa Mayer.
No way. When I found out that I won the Nurse Educator Award, I was in shock, just complete disbelief. I certainly felt a tremendous amount of respect from my core team that works in simulation, and especially Dr. Byrne. I didn't go into nursing with aspirations to win awards for the work that I do, and I don't think any nurse does, but it really has made me look at the work that we do and just feel a tremendous amount of honor and just respect for what we're doing. You know, when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a teacher, and I was fascinated by just knowledge and gaining knowledge. And my dad would always tell me, you know, Lisa, you should be a nurse. You have what it takes to be a nurse. And back then, you know, the nurse to me was that person that came in after the doctor saw you and gave you a shot. And I didn't want to be someone that would inflict pain on another. When I was 14 years old, my younger sister, Sarah, was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer. And through all of that, I remember that it was the nurses who really made a difference. They were the ones that, when we just needed to be lifted up or needed encouragement, they were there for us. The thing that I'm most proud of, that would probably be my biggest accomplishment in my eyes, would be my current work that I'm doing. I'm part of a simulation outreach team, and we travel all over the state of Indiana and teach delivery room personnel, so doctors, respiratory therapists, nurses, how to take better care of babies. We have research now that tells us from other industries as well as the healthcare industry that when we practice real life situations, we give better care and we improve patient safety, and just all kinds of great things happen. I would say to nurses everywhere that what you do is so special, and it takes a special person to do what you do. So thank you to all of the nurses for what you do.
At this time, I would like to invite Lisa Meyer and Bobby Byrne, attending neonatologist at Riley Hospital for Children and Program Director for Pediatric Outreach Education at IU Health Physicians, to the stage to receive your awards tonight. Congratulations again to Lisa. Ladies and gentlemen, those were our 2015 finalists for the Nurse of the Year. A round of applause again for all of our candidates tonight. And now to our final award of the night. Our final award tonight will be StarMedia's Salute to Nurses Nurse of the Year Award. It is such an honor to be able to present this year's top award, and it is with great pleasure that I announce the 2015 StarMedia Salute to Nurse of the Year is Charlesine Ford. And Charlesine is unable to attend tonight, so here is a special thank you from Charlesine.
I would have to start from the very beginning of my career. I began a nursing career as a licensed practical nursing. That person would be Daisy Burrell. I went from the nurse LPN program to Wishart Hospital, where I was hired initially for my first position. I would have to thank Ernie Klein. He was the charge nurse on the GYN floor and for labor and delivery. I would have to also thank Gladys Phillips, who was my first college professor, and she was the OBGYN professor. I would have to thank Karen Harper, Kathy Hansel, Mary Lowe. They were all professors through Butler University, Indiana Family Health Council. Melissa Swenson, who was the nursing professor at IU, she entrusted her master's students to me. My current employer, which is Dr. Steven Siegel, and absolutely my family, because I could not have done this without them. Being chosen as Nurse of the Year is a huge responsibility. You are now responsible for not only the past and the present, but also the future. In the past, you bring forward for all of those nurses who taught you. In the present, you practice what you've been taught. And for the future, you're responsible for bringing the new nurses onto the field.
And it is a pleasure to present a custom-designed star necklace courtesy of Hoffmeister Personal Jewelers as a token of appreciation for Charlestine's hard work and gratitude. And thank you to Shayla tonight for accepting this award on behalf of our Nurse of the Year for 2015. At this time, I would like to once again thank our retail partners for their generous gifts donated in recognizing our winners. And I would also like to thank all of you for being the most gracious audience to me tonight, and I feel like this is my big welcome to Indianapolis. I've been here for a year, and this is the largest event that I've emceed, and you guys were amazing, and I've enjoyed meeting some new faces. And on the health beat, I hope to see a lot of you in the future. And thank you again to StarMedia for extending the invitation for me to serve as your mistress of ceremonies tonight. Once again, thank you and congratulations to all the winners.
Thank you, Tanae, for doing a wonderful job emceeing our event tonight. I'd also like to recognize all the STAR employees as well. A lot went into making tonight what it is, so really want to thank everyone that put the hard work here. And one person in particular, Danielle Patterson. Danielle, you here? Please stand up and be recognized. There she is. Danielle led this thing probably over the last 8 or 9 months or so to make it happen, so thank you very much. Again, congratulations to all the outstanding group of nurses. The stories are truly inspiring. Without a doubt, nursing is a noble profession. After the ceremony, I would like to ask all the award winners to come back to the stage after the ceremony for additional photos. Additionally, we got some good stuff for you. If you have a red star sticker in the back of your program, you're welcome to take the centerpiece home with you. So those beautiful flowers by McNamara Florist, those are yours. Also, if there's a blue sticker on the back of the program, you're the lucky winner of the Chuck Pagano's book, Sidelined. You can pick your book up at the registration desk when you came in on your way out this evening. So once again, a big thank you to all our sponsors, especially our presenting sponsor, Lilly, to our guest speakers, and to the nurses who make such a difference in our community. Thank you for coming. Have a wonderful night and safe travels home. Thank you. We'll see you again next year.